Um, so I've been thinking about fear um, and its importance. I had a look in the Bible and I found out that the word appears. I think it was 385 times, and of those 385, as far as on a quick check, 5 of them are um, in the form of fearful or feareth, or perhaps even the past tense, I forget, but they went just the word fear. So the word fear is in the Bible 380 times. So I don't know whether that's numerologically important or not. 3 and 8. I do think everything is important in the Bible. So I also think that the numbers are generally, there's something there, Um, but that needs deeper study. Certainly 8 is always an interesting number, of course, because it's very nicely balanced. It's coming up to the 12, isn't it? It's an even number. It's the 2 4s. I think it's a very favourable number, and 3 has this tremendous stability about it and variability, doesn't it? It's the 3 days also. 3 often signifies the 3 days. It's very often used in the Bible. Things happen in 3 days. It's an omen. No, it's how would you describe it? It's something that can take you somewhere, I suppose. 3. It has stability, but it can be wielded somehow. I'm trying to pick again, and I'm enjoying it. I'm just trying to pick that little bell peal down. And the thing that I have to learn with picking, you pick alternately, right? I mean, people will know that, I'm sure. So it has to be down, up, down, and something like that. If I start, because I'm starting from the top, I suppose I can either finish on an upstroke or I can finish on a downstroke. It's one of those things that if you think about it, you can't do it. You have to do it kind of automatically. And so that's what I'm trying to learn. That's probably the better one to start with a downstroke. Generally, you have the downstroke on the beat and you have the upstrokes off the beat. But sometimes if you're switching strings between the downstroke and an upstroke, it's hard to find. I find it, I just don't know where I am on the guitar anymore. I'm probably not even in contact with the strings. But one of the things that I do like about Tony Rice, if anybody here is the guitar enthusiast, he slaps the strings against the fingerboard from time to time, and he does it, I think, with his second finger, which he uses a fair amount during his playing. I don't know, maybe he uses his third finger also. I mean, he's a great master, of course, and he will do, you can get that, he does that sound, I think it was, I first heard it from Jansch, and I've heard it mainly from him. I don't hear it very much. Apart from that, I haven't noticed, and I'm sure there's plenty of people that do it. There's some tremendous guitar players these days, but I've always quite liked that type of playing. It has a bit of an edge to it, and Tony Rice brings it in masterfully in his rendering of a piece that I can't remember the name of now, but. So fear appears that apart from the number of it, I became interested in fear because I experienced fear, and I have experienced fear from time to time, and of course we all do. And my particular fear that I was referring to, that had made me realise this thing, was when I was walking, which I've been doing all the time now. I walk every day, and I just feel the health of it. Lost a load of weight too. I've lost about a stone. As I said 2 months ago, the things that I said then, they're going to happen. There's just a singularity, and it's not me that's doing it. I don't have this sort of. My willpower has just never been strong. So I'm not doing it through will, and that makes it even more exciting. I mean, obviously, there's a certain diligence, but it's not quite the same thing, I suppose. So when I'm out walking, what's happened a few times, because I'm immersed in thought, I think sometimes I'm immersed in thought, I've probably taken some mind-expanding plants or something like that. You never know what I might get up to. And although, of course, I don't smoke anymore. As I walk, I become completely immersed in thought, and then suddenly I look up, and I have no idea where I am. Just complete, I could have been dropped there from some kind of helicopter, and I had no idea how I got there or where I was. And looking around, this has happened now, I think 3 times. And then as I look, in the first glance, as I look up the road, it looks like Birmingham when I was a child. It looks like such a nice place. I sort of see all the green. It's a very green city where I live, and I see all the grass and the trees and the beautiful old houses, and wherever I might be, and the path winding off. But I have a moment of I don't know whether you call it amnesia or something like that. I really genuinely, and it doesn't last very long because I rationalize it. But the first thing that happens is I get a fear runs through me because, of course, I'm fearing perhaps I have lost my mind, and now they'll have to send out search party. I must have dementia, I think they would call it. I'm sure if I went up to the health clinic and spoke about these experiences, they'd be very quick to diagnose me with dementia and give me a pill to calm me down. But because of the combination of the two feelings. So there's the feeling of fear, but then immediately, I don't know whether it's followed by or accompanied by this feeling of familiarity and almost traveling through time to see a more placid scene around me. It seems more placid, I would say. That's not at all threatening, just old worldy a little bit. It seems really like the 1960s for some reason or other. I don't know why. I don't suppose the cars in the road change, but that's the feeling. It's a connection, I suppose, that I get with my childhood. And I should say that, in all fairness, I was in this area in my childhood, although I didn't. Well, yes, I mean, I was born not far from here, and my family moved away when I was just 5 years of age. So I have very few recollections. I do have some recollections, but then because my mother's sister came to live near where I live now, and we used to visit her, so I became more familiar with the area. And also, I was very fond of my aunt, and so I would be sure to visit her every time I was here. And I came with my wife many times. My wife knew her well. She was a believer. She was a Catholic believer. She was a fine old lady then. It's a pleasure, always a pleasure to have her in my mind. But so I have this sudden experience. It's like a kind of what do they call them? Is it a sieg? No. You go into a sort of a trance, I suppose, almost. And then I have this rush of fear, and the fear when fear comes upon you in that sort of in any situation, perhaps it's a jolt, I think, and it's a jolt to the solar plexus. If it's kind of constant underlying fear, you feel it in that area of the body. But if it's sudden fear like that, you do feel a jolt to your solar plexus, and I suppose there's a bodily response, and this is adrenaline hitting. Your body is in a state of heightened awareness, different awareness anyway. So you've been, to some extent, pushed into the mystic momentarily. And if you see that as a negative thing, then obviously the thing you want to do most is to get back into the world of ordinary reality over which you feel you have some degree of control, which I feel, I'm not talking about anybody else, I'm talking about that I have some degree of control. But if I think, and I don't know how quite whether, I think perhaps because I'm more receptive to these kinds of things at the moment, I am persuaded to tarry in that world for a moment and to see what it is. All fear is the fear of the Lord. Ultimately, we fear the unknown, and you can call it death, or it's the nothingness. This is, we think of the sea as being a majestic force, and we see the sea. We can go to the coast and we can admire wild seas and appreciate the grandeur of nature. But if we stand at the shore of nothingness or of holiness, then I think it would be an absolute jolt. I think it would be terrifying, perhaps momentarily, until we begin to see, because we are standing at the very gates of heaven. So it seemed to me, well, so fear then can be an ally. It can be a useful thing to fear, to feel a jolt of fear. I don't think it means that one should be an adrenaline junkie or anything like that. You know, I don't think these things can be sought out particularly. Well, I don't think anything should be sought out, do I? Why should you seek anything?